Hello, today we're going to look at evaluating logs. So what we did in the last lesson was we rearranged things from one type of equation, either exponential to log or log to exponential. Here we don't have equations at all, we need to fill in what the log would be equal to. So what I touched on in the last lesson was that when we have log base b of y equals x, that means that b to the y equals x. Or sorry, b to the x equals y. I have those backwards. And so when we're in log form, we're thinking, what power do I put on my base to get to the argument? And that's what x equals. So it can be helpful to think of the exponential form here, kind of what I just said, but written out. What power do I need to put on my base number to get to the argument number? And that's what we're after. So using number 1 as an example here, we want to fill in what this log is equal to. What is log base 3 of 1 over 9? So another way to think of that is 3 to the something equals 1 over 9. What exponent would I need to put on 3 to turn that into 1 over 9? Well, first of all, we know it's going to be a negative exponent because we're dealing with a fraction here. And if you think about your powers of 3, 3 to the 1 is 3. 3 squared is 9, so 3 to the negative 2 would be 1 over 9. So the answer to this problem here, log base 3 of 1 over 9 equals negative 2. Negative 2 is my answer, and it's my answer because I'm thinking, what exponent do I put on 3 to get to 1 over 9? So if it helps you, you can write what I have here in red, but what I'm after is just what this is equal to. So all I'm really looking for is that negative 2. Let's try a few more. So next one, I didn't number them, this is next one. Log base 6 of 216 equals something. So what I'm thinking is, what power do I put on 6 to get to 216? So if you have your table of exponents back from when we did exponential equations, this would be very helpful. 6 to the 1 is 6, 6 squared is 36, 6 to the third is 216. And so then my answer I'm looking for here is 3. To get from 6 to 216, I need to put a third power on my 6. Next, I have log base 2 of 1. So 2 to the something equals 1. If you think back to your exponent rules, there was one special one. Something, anything to a certain power is always 1, and that is 0 power. Anything to the 0 power other than a 0 base is 1. So whenever I have log base something of 1, the answer is always going to be 0 because x to the 0 equals 1. Next up, log base 3 of 3. What power do I need to put on 3 to get to 3? Basically, what exponent turns something into itself? Whenever you have a 1 power, you end up with what you started with. So if I do 100 to the 1, I get 100. If I do 2 to the 1, I get 2. So to get from 3 to 3, to keep the number the same, I'm using a 1 power. So log base 3 of 3 is 1. Next, log base 3 of 81 equals something. What I'm thinking is, what power do I put on 3 to get to 81? So if you can look in your table of exponents, you can use a calculator. 3 to the 1 is 3, 3 squared is 9, 3 to the 3 is 27, 3 to the 4 is 81. So I need a 4th power, so my answer here is 4. Last one of these, what log base 2 of 1 over 64, what exponent do I put in 2 to get to 1 over 64? And so first of all, we know it needs to be a negative. And I'm going to kind of go through my 2's here. 2 to the 1 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 2 to the third is 8, so we've got to keep going for a while, it looks like. 2 to the 4 is 16. 2 to the 5 is 32. 2 to the 6 is 64. I don't want 64, I want 1 over 64, so I need to use a negative 6. If I do 2 to the negative 6 power, I get 1 over 64. So log base 2 of 1 over 64 equals negative 6. That's half of what you're going to do in this lesson. The other half is going to be solving some log equations, but I'm splitting that into the next video, so hang tight for the next one.